Are we recording this one
Yeah, we'll record it just so that we have a copy, and if it works, then it works, and at least you have something just to go by for now.
for now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So great, you got your report back. Really cool to see. Obviously, you are unbalanced, so your omega 6 to omega 3 ratio is a 15 to 1. Okay, so are you currently using omegas?
I am not currently using omegas. No, I only have a product that reduces my inflammation, and so I should share a little bit about me, right?
Sure.
I've been into health for about 5 years. I have a Kagan and Magic Water machine, and my NFR2 cells are turned on. So every day for the last few months, I take this pill that reduces my inflammation, month over month by 40%. I work out and I drink probably 2 to 4 liters a day. So I would say I'm more average. I'm more healthier than the average American. And me failing is still like very bewildering, you know?
Yeah, I mean the thing to consider here is that it is looking at your ratio of omega 6 that's being stored in your tissues to the omega 3. And like you understand that these nutrients have to come in through your diet. So other things that you're doing will not deflect it in a certain way. Like if you are taking Kangen water or you're taking other supplements that are doing other pathways, they're going to do those other pathways. They're going to cleanse, they're going to do whatever they need to do. But it's kind of like if you were evaluating your vitamin D status wouldn't change if you're not getting enough sunlight or taking vitamin D. Does that make sense?
So you're
So
saying that those my pathways are being activated, but it's not directly helping out with my omega threes.
no, because the NRF2 pathways or other inflammatory pathways that you're working on are other pathways that the body is utilizing. You might be activating them, but it's not like you can remove omega 6 on its own without giving the body the right essential fatty acids to build with.
So
So
what I mean from the comparison that I've seen, Kareem, is basically what the NRF2 like activator is like doing is it's helping the body to eliminate omega 6 as well as reduce oxidative stress. So it's not changing the amount of omega 3s that you're getting. So as you're still consuming whatever products you're doing, it's not putting out the fire. It's just throwing water on the fire.
right. Well, we can look at exactly what the concentration of fatty acids is.
Great.
And when we look at your report, we can see 11 different types of fatty acids, right? So we've got the two saturated fatty acids, palmitic acid and stearic acid. And you'll notice that for stearic acid, you're higher, you're 35% above the ideal range. For omega 9s, which is typically what you would get from just an olive oil, you're fine, you're within the range, so no issues there. For omega 6, you've done a pretty good job at avoiding seed oils. However, there is one that is kind of high. It's the
Can you
DGLA.
can you scroll up again?
Sure. Is my whole screen showing or no?
Yes.
Where it's yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm going to pull up the full report. So when you log in, you'll notice it gives you a nice visual, but then right here, there's a PDF. There's a full report and a printer-friendly version. So the full report is the one that's about 20 pages. It's got like lifestyle related stuff and everything, as well as all the calculations. So we're going to pull that one up. It makes it a bit more uh, better to look at. Okay. So you'll notice here a ratio of 15:1. Some people don't take any supplement and don't eat fatty fish regularly and have an omega-6 to 3 ratio above 15:1. We find 30:1, 51, 81 and above. Don't worry. You can get that into balance. However, when people are taking a fish oil, a lot of them will come out being a 7:1 instead of a 3:1 or lower. Obviously, these are the stats that we've seen. And then let's go back to your report here, split to width. Okay, so there's going to be a few things we're going to drill down on. Number one, we've got your ratio. Number two, the omega-3 index is at 3.3. We're going to talk about the appropriate range. Your mental strength is at a 3.0 to 1, moderate, so nothing too bad. Cell membrane fluidity still stands at a 13.7 to 1. And arachidonic acid is the omega-6 that you find in animal-based foods. That's a 9.7%, so it's slightly elevated. Not too much, but it's
So
slightly.
my mental, could you explain what my mental strength is?
Yeah, we're going to get to that, and I'm going to show you the calculation and all that.
Sweet.
So obviously, your 6-to-3 balance stands at a 15:1. Obviously, our goal is to get it to a 3:1, which is what science recommends is best. And this is partly due because you have a little bit higher arachidonic acid. You have a little bit of extra omega-6, which we'll see in a moment. And you don't have enough omega-3s coming into your body. And we'll see that from the omega-3 index, which is the concentration of just the omega-3s in your red blood cells. So if you were taking a supplement, or if you were on a proper diet, or if you are taking other things that you say should be helping, they might be lowering the ratio, but they're not going to get the omega-3 into your tissues. That has to come in through your diet. There's no way around it. It's like there's no compromise there. Doesn't matter what supplements you're taking, if they're not omega-3s, you're deficient, right? It's just as simple as that. We'll talk about protection value as well. Okay, so let's go to the calculations here and we'll get to that in a minute. So this chart is great because it shows you all 11 types of fats that they took a look at. This is too small. I'll just make it bigger. So we look at the saturated fats, the omega-9, the omega-6s, and we look at the omega-3s. Now we're going to focus a little bit more on the omega-3s. You'll notice that the amount of EPA that you would need, EPA is the anti-inflammatory omega. It's the second one on the list. Ideally, your target range is 3.3 to 5%. You're at 0.64%. So you are 80% away from the ideal. For the DHA, DHA is the actual building material of the brain. Your nerves, your eyes, your testes, your brain, all of the central nervous system is made out of DHA, which is also an omega-3. The ideal is between 4.2 and 4.9%. You're at a 2.62. So you're 38% away, like deficient in the target value. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So really, you definitely do have a deficiency in omega-3. But when it comes to omega-6s, you've done quite well. I mean, your arachidonic acid is just slightly higher than the 9.5%. It should be between 6.5 and 9.5. You're at 9.7. But you do have a lot of DGLA. It's at 50% higher than what it should be. And that's because you might be consuming a lot more plant-based omegas that are converting into the DGLA. They're one step away from perhaps, this could be nuts and seeds, could be other things as well that may have come in through your diet in the
I
past.
eat a lot of those.
Pardon?
Eat a lot of nuts, seeds,
Nuts and seeds.
plants. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So what
think
happens?
a lot of arugula.
A lot of arugula. So what happens is when you get omega-6 from your diet, it comes in as linoleic acid, which is this top one, LA. It then converts into GLA and then DGLA, and then it turns into arachidonic acid. So there's like this conversion pathway. So, a lot of your omega-6s are in that state. And again, it's not too bad. You're not like overly bad. What is deficient is the omega-3. So definitely you're not getting the omega-3s into your system, which is definitely deficient from all levels, you know. Especially the EPA, you're 80% away. Like that's a huge drop. So when it does come to inflammation, it makes it very hard for you to turn off the inflammatory process because there's just not enough omega-3 present in order for you to do that.
Ah,
Okay. So
the last part is key. Got
yeah.
it.
So when we're looking at things like your mental strength, the mental strength is calculated by looking at the balance between the arachidonic acid and also the EPA plus DHA. So if you are getting enough of the omega-3s compared to the arachidonic acid, it definitely makes a difference in cognitive performance. So it's looking at those three fatty acids. And when you are in the zone of 1 to 1 to 0.5 to 1, when they do that calculation of those three specific fatty acids, then you tend to be in the target zone for good mental strength, good quality brain function, and so on. So again, you're a bit lower there, but it can definitely be fixed by just getting the omega-3s back into your tissues. Your arachidonic acid was just above the normal range, so I'm not worried about the arachidonic acid, but obviously you're just deficient in omega-3. So work on the omega-3s, then you're going to see mental strength improve as well. So what's great about the report, Daquan, is that you can actually see all the calculations and what they're sort of presenting to you and what the target ranges are and what they all mean. And what it also shows you is where you're getting some of these types of foods in your diet that are coming in. So that could be a consideration as well.
It's interesting because like I always try to eat a lot of like things that are like high in healthy fats, like spinach, almonds. I eat a lot of salmon. I even use olive oil, and it's like my omega-3s aren't even enough. I purposely try to eat as much more.
Yeah, you do seem to be getting sufficient amounts of olive oil. So when you look at your omega-9, you'll see that you're right in the right range. So the olive oil isn't seem to be a problem. Like your deviation is you're at 21% oleic acid, which is what you would get from olive oil. You're at 20 to 23%. But you know, sometimes we think we're eating enough omega-3s from our diet, but it's really not sufficient. And this clearly shows you that you are deficient in the omega-3s. And if you just up that, then it's going to be very easy to go from that 15 to 1 back down to a 3 to 1 in a relatively short period of time.
So that means I keep taking the balance oil for 4 months,
And then we're
and
going to
then
retest again.
yes, retest again. But in 4 months, I can still keep the same diet I have now.
You could do that, yeah. And you can see that the only thing you're changing is adding in the right omega-3s, and you'll see that show up in your ratios. So yeah, you can keep doing what you're doing. Adding in the balance oil is the only thing that you're really going to shift, and that is going to increase your omega-3 content and thereby balance out that 15 to 1. Now
Okay.
the omega-3s will get back into its tissues. You're going to be good, and you're going to be in the right zone.
And
So
that's the great thing with compliance, Daquan Pablo here, with this regimen is that we're not asking them to flip their lifestyle. So everybody can do this. All they need to do is basically take the oil, and we've seen miraculous shifts, much more than the 15 to 1. So, yeah, sure, you can do some other things to augment if you want like super high performance and even help yourself up more. But yeah, you'll get back to that 3 to 1 for sure.
Okay, nice.
yeah, exactly. And then again, the report is pretty comprehensive. So what you can also do is upload it into ChatGPT and start asking questions, which is great. So that's one of the things you want to start doing is creating your own little chat bot that's designed specifically for this. And any articles come up on omega-3s, your blood work, this kind of stuff, and start asking it questions, and you'll get some even more insightful information. But generally speaking, yeah, most people, as you've heard and seen, they will be out of balance. And you're doing better than most Americans. Most Americans are 25 to 1. So
Yeah, thanks.
Did better than me, Daquan, so that should make you feel good.
Nice. So on my omega-3 index supposed to be 8%. And what's the deal? What is the cell membrane fluidity?
so the cell membrane fluidity, again, let's look at the calculation here for you. So this is the ratio between saturated fatty acids and omega-3, EPA, and DHA. So obviously, if we want the proper balance for optimal is going to be a 4.1 to 1.1. So there has to be some saturated fats. They do create some structure and rigidity, but then we also need enough omega-3 present to allow for that fluidity that we talk about in our overviews of why it's important for nutrients to be able to get in and get out. So you are a bit higher in the saturated fats, you're low in the EPA and DHA, and as a result, your cell membranes are a bit more rigid than they should be, and that's why that number is not optimal.
Okay.
So you are sitting at a um, cell membrane fluidity. It's a 13.7 to 1, which means it's more, it's got a bit more saturated fats than enough omega-3. So you're a bit elevated there.
Got it.
And again, your omega-3 index is at 3.3%. We want it to be at the 8%.
Yeah.
And that would be ideal. There's a video by Dr. Rhonda Patrick where she talks about there's studies that now show that if you are 8 to 12%, you can increase your lifespan by 5 years.
Yeah, I saw that. It's in your webinar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the larger docufilm video. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
And what she also points out as well is the fact that you can have a smoker that has, like you saw in that video, the right omega-3 index, and they'll live just as long as the non-smoker who doesn't have the right omega-3 index.
crazy.
So it's that powerful. So obviously, you're pretty good at not getting a lot of seed oils into your diet. You're doing a good job there, but definitely the omega-3s are deficient, and that's pretty much similar for a lot of people across the board that, again, are not taking a supplement or they're not eating enough of the fatty fish, like the small little fatty fish.
And you were already partially on that other product, is that correct?
Fully. Yeah.
You
I
were
took the
fully
class.
on it. So you can imagine what would have been if you didn't have that product as well.
I know, you're so right. Absolutely.
No, you didn't. When did you start taking that?
I've always taken it from 2 years ago, but like as of like 3 months ago, I had it like maybe 5 times a week. I've been taking it for like 2 months now.
That's a test.
Oh, so when you came and we tested you, you had already been on it.
Yeah, I was on the tri-synergizer, so I had the NAD and I didn't have the omegas. Yeah.
No, I'm asking you about the omegas.
No omegas was in my. Nah, I had Nordic Naturals, but I didn't even like when you start telling me about this, I stopped taking it actually. So I didn't really, oh, not enough. Not enough was even in there. Like I still have half the bottle.
Got you.
So you were doing some, but not fully. Okay.
Nah, not really.
So you weren't taking omegas?
No.
It's like 30 pills in there, and I think I was taking two a day, 30 or 60. I was taking like two a day, but like I wasn't really. I probably took like half the bottle in like a month period.
Before you did the test.
Yeah, but there was still like a 5 day gap before I went to Toronto.
Yeah,
Or Scott.
remember, Daquan, what we're testing is what is happening in your red blood cells over 120 days. So the
Right.
question is, were you taking any omega supplements during 4 months before doing the test?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing we're trying to let you realize is that even though people are taking some supplements here and there, when they are taking these fish oils, it may not be moving their index sufficiently because this is the main thing we keep stressing is that they might be taking a fish oil, but doesn't seem to be adequately getting into the tissues as we would want them to. That's the one of the big takeaways. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's not that you stopped at 4 or 5 days before. That's not the window. The window is 120 days because that's how long your red blood cells were being exposed to some type of omega, whether it's from your diet, your eating style, or the Nordic Naturals, or whatever other supplements you're taking.
Yeah, so think back later and see, well, I was kind of taking an omega-3 supplement. If that's the case, then that makes your case even stronger when you're presenting this to other people because you ate the fish, you were taking supplementation of omega, maybe not as hardcore, but both you were out of balance and your omega-3 index was off. And then we're going to have a story of what's going to happen in 4 months, which you're going to be very happy with.
yeah. I'm excited to like I love the science because it makes me a deep believer. But the feeling of it is like what I'm really looking forward to. Like I'm excited to have like
Yeah,
Well, I want to point something out about feelings because you can go ahead and take a little dose of nicotine gum and you'll feel it instantly, versus taking a vitamin B12 that might take you a few weeks to sort of balance your brain a bit. Whereas omegas are not specifically working on your energy pathway. Let's just say it's not like stimulating you in a certain way, it's balancing your cell membranes. It is making your body more efficient. Oxygen uptake will go up, but I don't want you to monitor based on feelings. That's not the way to
yeah.
measure
I'm
omega
speaking
science.
on the healthy kit because yeah, omega threes that aren't like a stimulant. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're not going to necessarily notice them in that way. But the moment you try something like the Viva, which is
Yeah,
working on your neurotransmitters, you're going to notice, oh, I don't feel as tired. I'm very much with it. I feel happier. That you will notice in that way of evaluating it. The way to evaluate omega-3 is through this blood test. That's what's giving you the numbers of showing you what your cell membranes are made out of. It's kind of like if I said we're going to test the level of cholesterol that's in your cell membrane, and cholesterol is an important part of your cell membrane, and it has to be in balance as well. You do need it, but you're not going to feel it. It's not going to be something you're going to notice in the feeling. So I just want to be very clear on you're not looking for the feeling, but what you do want to look for is your recovery. Let's just say you do start working out, you go to the gym and you're like, oh, you know what? I actually don't feel the pain as much as I used to when I'm trying to build muscle or I'm stressing my body out. I feel like the pain that typically would happen that takes much longer isn't there, and I feel a lot better when it comes to my recovery. That would be a good way to analyze how the omegas are assisting because it's directly related to an inflammatory pathway.
Yeah.
information.
For people who are
Yeah.
in more dire straits, like they haven't been optimizing for a long time, obviously they're going to have massive transformations. Like their skin's going to go from eczema to non-eczema. If they had serious kind of brain fog, they're going to notice the mental clarity right away. If they have problems with their muscles, they're going to loosen up. I would just say you're going to be able to monitor from where you were. If you're paying attention, you will notice like, okay, maybe I'm a little bit clearer. My mind's a little clearer. Maybe my muscles don't have soreness anymore. That's what happened for me. I had problems before where I had to recover from not being able to walk, and I had lots of problems with my discs and my hips and all this kind of stuff. And I notice now my muscles just don't get stiff or sore, even if I'm sitting in a position that if I was there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I would get that feeling. So you'll have augmentation of all these things, but you're gonna have to it's going to happen over that course of time as all your systems optimize. Your gut might not have as much problems, but it's going to be something you have to consciously be paying attention to if you're already optimized, but you'll see it. But the places where you'll really see it is where you have a deficiency. So let's say you had a problem with your gut lining and you were having pain there, you'll feel it. If you were having problems with cognition, your brain function will start getting better. And obviously the Vivo will optimize that. But that's the way I would look at it when you're looking for the
Yeah,
changes.
the other area that people do notice very early on is their skin. They're going to
Yeah.
tell you that the hydration of their skin will go up. They don't tend to need as much use of moisturizers. And I've heard this from several people. So that is one thing to start monitoring, is seeing how your skin is doing over the next few weeks. That tends to be a really good way to monitor this as well. So in essence, remember, omega-3s do very important things, but the combination of that plus the entire protocol that hopefully you'll experience shortly, you're going to start noticing some great some differences. And this becomes a very important base protocol for everybody. You know, before they get into some of those elite products, they still need to balance this out. Without this, they're not really optimizing those other products because you're still out of balance, right?
They're not digesting properly because the cell isn't able to integrate them properly. So this will kind of like touch on everything and get it to optimal state so that whatever you're putting in your body actually does what it's going to do, basically.
Nice. So that's good to know. So this will help make everything else I'm taking stretch further.
100%, because
Sure.
once the cells, energy systems, and the membrane work, and it can transfer out waste properly and get nutrients in, whatever you're doing actually gets where it's supposed to get, provided it's designed to get there, versus just getting peed out or being blocked because your systems are broken, your digestive system has issues, or your brain has issues, or whatever the system has issues. So by optimizing every cell, all the tissues get optimized. So yes, you will see changes over time. It just might not be like, oh my God, I'm hopped up on something right away. You know what I mean? It'll be like a gradual shift that you start noticing in everything, like your skin and your muscle recovery and your just overall feeling and your mental clarity and stuff like that.
Cool. Um, just for recording purposes, is there anything else that we're going over in the test, or can we hit stop the recording?
Okay, I think that's it. I'll just pause it here.